and this is NewsMug, refreshing you every day. Let's get started. Global headlines. China is invading Taiwan by sending warships to Taiwan airspace. In Ukraine, crisis is getting escalated. Countries have started pulling out diplomats and sending warships. Number of COVID cases in India has started declining. In last 24 hours, it was recorded 3 lakhs cases, and it is 8% less than previous records. It's good news that it is downgrading. Report says that Burkina Faso President Kabiro has been detained by revolting soldiers. It's a disturbing news. Now let's back to our today's cover story. You might be wondering that we have so much crisis in our world today. At one end, China is invading Taiwan. At another area, Ukraine is facing crisis and is on the brink of the war. And in the Middle East Asia, it's again Yemen war. But here the question is not about whether the war is going to happen or not. The question is how big war will be. So today let me tell you what's everything all about the Yemen war. This war is between Houthis, Saudi Arabia and UAE. Who are Houthis? People who are part of Houthi movement. Houthi movement, it is an Islamist political and armed movement that emerged from Sada in North Yemen in 1990s. It is a war between Houthis, Saudi Arabia and UAE. Last week, Houthis crossed the red line and struck UAE twice in 1 week. UAE strikes back, and since then it is to and fro. Rockets has been fired from both the sides. On Friday, Arab hit a prison in North Yemen, and that ended in many casualties. As per a report, 70 people has been killed. How this reacted and targeted area in Saudi Arabia. How this made it very clear that they are ready for war. And as far as if we talk about Saudi Arabia, they are ready as well to fight till the end. Now the question arises, what about UAE? Whether UAE will dive more into the war or it will de-escalate the war. So let's suppose if the UAE choose to go to war, then it needs more weapons, more warships, more fighter planes, and must be ready for huge casualties. War never comes cheaper. They take lives at a huge price. But if UAE de-escalate it, and why should it de-escalate it? Because to maintain its tourism. UAE has huge tourist attraction and it is getting huge foreign funding and investments. And it is claimed that UAE is a peaceful and calm country. But if the Houthis continues its attacks on UAE, it will surely disrupt its image that it is no more a peaceful country, and it will stop the fundings and the investments. So what's the option for the UAE? UAE has taken a diplomatic way to handle the situation. It is seeking international support to label Houthis as an international tourist group. Previously, American president, ex-president Donald Trump has labeled Houthis as terrorist group, but the current president Joe Biden has revoked it. But why the UAE wants to label Houthis as a terrorist group? By doing this, all the international human aid, funding and supply will be cut off, and it will be difficult for Houthis to carry on. It's a smart move from the UAE. But Iran seems to be like always supports the Houthis, and it is their backbone. But apparently Houthis are going rogue, and it is out of control from Iran's hands as well. Seems like Iran's has not trying this, but Houthis are their own. Now it will be interesting to see the role what the West and America is going to play in this war. Whether they're going to label Houthis as international terrorist group or not, because it highly depends their future. The funding is one of the most important thing. That's all for today. Stay safe, be happy. Thank you.